Welcome to a new video about the features of QF-Tet. In this video I'm going to show you how to integrate QF-Tet into third-party systems like continuous integration systems, test management systems or other frameworks triggering the test execution or evaluating test results. QF-Tet can be integrated into such systems in multiple ways. Due to the primary file format XML, test suites and test logs can be saved to version management systems like JIT or Subversion very comfortably. Test runs can be triggered in two ways. The first way is the QF-Tet batch mode, which is actually a direct call of a command line. The second is the QF-Tet Daemon API, which offers an API to trigger test runs or saving run logs. Furthermore, it offers the capability of managing distributed test runs on multiple test systems. All test results will be stored in common formats like XML, HTML or the JUnit XML format, which allows reporting systems to evaluate those results quite easily. The scripting capability of QF-Tet allows extending the functionality by injecting custom code pieces before, during or after the test execution. QF-Tet provides already defined solutions and concepts for integrating it with the test management systems Micro Focus ALM, Imbus Test Bench, Qmetry, Claros, SQS Test Professional and TestLink. It also integrates with the developer tools Jenkins, Maven and Ant, and there is a dedicated Eclipse plugin available. Of course, you can also connect it with ticket systems like Jira or Bugzilla. The concepts presented in this video can be applied to integrate QF-Tet with any other tool as well. The first part of this video describes those concepts, and then we take a brief look at the integration of QF-Tet with Jenkins and the integration of QF-Tet with TestLink. The QF-Tet batch mode represents the command line mode of QF-Tet. This interface allows a very simple integration into any tool triggering test runs. It's recommended to store the direct call of the command line in a dedicated patch or PowerShell script on Windows systems or a dedicated shell script on Linux or Mac systems. This makes the maintenance of parameters easier. Here we see a typical Windows batch script. In the beginning we see the path to the QF-Tet executable. On Windows systems it's recommended to use qf-tet-c.exe, and then we see a couple of parameters being specified, like the path to the QF-Tet run log or the path to the created HTML or JUnit reports. And at the end of the command line we see the path to the test suite which needs to be executed. There are also parameters available to trigger the execution of one dedicated test case or to trigger the execution of scenario files. Those parameters and even more parameters are described in the QF-Tet manual. The QF-Tet batch mode offers even more capabilities besides the pure test execution. It offers a way to create a huge overview HTML report or XML report from many run log files. And there is even another mode available which allows you to merge run logs into a huge run log files. The QF-Tet batch mode offers even more capabilities besides the pure test execution. It offers a way to create a huge overview report using several run logs, what you can see here. Furthermore, you can merge several run logs into a huge run log. And the third mode is to create test suite documentation or procedure documentation from given test suites. By the way, if you want to send an email once the test run has been finished, you can use the procedure qfs-utils email.send email from the standard library QFS-QFT. So here we see a procedure call with all those parameters, and you can call that procedure, and the corresponding batch call would look like this. The second option to trigger test runs of QF-Tet is the so-called QF-Tet Daemon mode. The Daemon mode requires a running QF-Tet daemon process on the target test system, and then this QF-Tet daemon process can be contacted by any other system to execute tests. So this option allows triggering test runs on remote test systems in a test farm. You can either use a variation of the QF-Tet batch mode as shown in the previous section, or implement the provided Daemon API in order to approach this target. The Daemon API is a Java API, so you can use that API directly in Java or in the supported scripting languages like Groovy, JavaScript or Jython. Here we see a sample in Java. Besides triggering the test run, what we see here, it's also possible to set variables or to wait for the run state or even to store the run log to a dedicated location. A very good example of integrating QF-Test with a continuous integration system is the Jenkins integration, which is realized by an official Jenkins QF-Test plugin. The QF-Test Jenkins plugin can be installed by the standard means of installing plugins to Jenkins. Afterwards, you just need to configure your project to use QF-Test. So in the project configuration, you add a build step, run QF-Test, and then you can configure the output directory for the reports, the path to the test suites, and even more arguments. Once you have approached this, you can save the configuration and you can trigger the test execution by building the project. Once the build is being completed, you can open the results of the created build, and then you see the QF-Test run log being uploaded as an artifact to that build information, and you see a link to the QF-Test report which you can open and take a look at the results. It's also possible to use the QF-Test execution in a build pipeline of Jenkins, and you find all the details how to configure that pipeline in the official documentation of the QF-Test Jenkins plugin homepage on the Jenkins documentation. The QF-Test TestLink integration represents a possible scenario of integrating QF-Test with test management tools. The current implementation allows you to export test cases from TestLink to QF-Test and to upload test results from QF-Test back to TestLink. In this video, we just talk about uploading test results to TestLink. Before we start, we need to perform a couple of preparation steps in order to get the scripts working correctly. All of those steps are described in detail in the QF-Test manual. First, we need to copy the files from the API TestLink folder of your current QF-Test installation into a folder which allows you to change the files, so a folder which you have write privileges. Then, as next step, we need to modify the batch script import results and the Python file TestLink user specifics. The batch script import results bet normally deals just with the installation path of QF-Test, which you can change in row number 10, and with the target directory where you copied your TestLink files to in row number 13. In the Python file TestLink user specifics, you define the path of your TestLink installation. So the TestLink integration of QF-Test uses the XML RPC interface of TestLink. And in addition, you need to specify the developer key of the user who should upload the results to TestLink. You can copy the developer key from the user information in TestLink. And now we are ready to go. If we want to upload results to TestLink, we need to have test results first. So I have already executed a test suite and stored the test results to this particular folder. The upload mechanism requires the XML reports created by the QF-Test execution. So please don't forget to create the XML reports. And now we will pass the path of that XML report to the batch file once we call it. Therefore, I created another batch file again, which is the call of import results bat. So we see the path to the XML report, and we also see the name of the project to test in TestLink and also the name of the test plan in TestLink. And once we run that script now, we will upload the results to TestLink. And if I run the script, we see a couple of output, and finally we will see the message upload completed or import completed, and that's it. So now let's go to TestLink and take a look at the results. The upload created a new build to your test plan, so we can go to builds and releases, and there we see a new build being created by our upload, which is actually the QF-Test run ID, but there is a parameter available which allows you to use your custom build name if you don't want to use those run IDs. And in the test reports, we will see the test result with the corresponding build and the test cases set to passed in my case. Of course, failing test cases will be set to failed. The integration also offers lots of parameters like the custom build name, which I already mentioned, or like specifying the target platform if you work with various platforms in your test plan. You can find details and samples of the QF-Test batch mode, the QF-Test Daemon mode, as well as the description of the concepts of the integration to test management tools and to developer tools or to continuous integration tools in the QF-Test user manual. And in the QF-Test user manual technical reference, you find all the parameters of the QF-Test batch mode and a detailed description of the methods of the QF-Test Daemon API. QF-Test offers very comfortable and powerful integration capabilities with test management or continuous integration tools or any other third-party system. It's quite easy to trigger test runs by the provided interfaces, and because of the common XML and JUnit XML format, uploading results to reporting systems is quite a fair job. Go ahead and use those great capabilities.